Hello everybody, it's CapCorgi. I hope guys are having a fantastic night. I wanted to talk about a very polarizing game that everyone's talking about right now, and I think I'm going to give you guys a perfect take on it because a lot of people are being a little disingenuous on both sides. A game called Crimson Desert. I've had the distinct pleasure of being able to play about 10 hours straight. I kind of just played it, nothing but that last night, and had a really fun time. But I think it is a distinctly fun and extremely interesting, but also flawed game. But we'll dive into it with some great detail. I think a lot of people right now, especially YouTubers and streamers and stuff, there's a lot of opinions flying around right now, games journalists as well, that are talking about how much they either love the game or hate the game, but they're talking pretty much on only the extremes. This is one of the most, I would say, worth playing but distinctly flawed games that I've seen in years. And we used to have lots of these games, and now it's kind of rare to find these games that often. This isn't going to be like a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 style of like perfect game, in my opinion. I love that game, and this is not going to be like an absolute flopathon like Forsaken. There's nothing like either of those two things, but right now if you look online, those are the kind of two opinions that you see right now. This is distinctly something right in the middle, of definitely on the positive side, but it has some real distinct flaws, and you need to come into the game and meet it halfway by going into it with the expectation of what it is, what it's trying to be. And if you can see that vision, if you can get past its flaws, you're going to have fun with this game for hundreds of hours. So let's dive into it. Crimson Desert. So yes, I just wanted to talk about the game. This is just first impressions only. So, like I said, 10 hours. I did not get a review copy. I'm not a large streamer or anything like that. But I am someone who's played games since the NES days. So I'm a true blue gamer. And I played a lot of different genres of games. I'm not someone who plays only shooters. I'm not someone who plays only RPGs. I'm not someone who plays only MMOs. Nothing like that. I play everything. So I'm coming at this from a generalized gaming experience, but someone who likes games and someone who likes open world games specifically. I love games like Zelda. I love games like, Fallout and Skyrim. I love games like The Witcher 3, and I do love games. Actually, you know what? I think this is... So for anyone who it was big around the Xbox 360 era, PS3 era, we used to have a lot of games like this. Games like Prototype. I'm gonna compare this game to Prototype. This game is very Prototype. The open world aspects of the game and the world building that is in a lot of the immersive elements are awesome. And the combat is really fun. You feel like a superhero. But there's so much jank in the game as well, which kind of distracts from the whole experience a little bit, but not enough to, for me to not recommend the game. I want to play this game for like 300 hours, which is kind of what I played Prototype for as well. So this game reminds me of Prototype, and Prototype had a lot of distinct flaws. It had a lot of jank. It had a lot of issues. But oh my god, it was such a fantastic, immersive, and fun experience that I still remember it. What is it like now, almost 20 years later after Prototype came out? It still is in my mind as one of my favorite games of that generation. A fantastic game. But yeah, this game is very much like that. It's very much like that. And right here, you're going to see some of the detraction. We'll start with one of those. The controls are absolutely unintuitive. Like, it is almost... Oh my god, it almost drives me bananas how stupid some of these controls are. So this is one of the first puzzles. Is at, like, the tutorial section of the game. It's not really a spoiler. So In order, so I have to take my sword out and point it at and like shoot a concentrated beam of light at the big glowy ball. And in order to do that, I have to do a combination of things. I have to do LB and RB, so right bumper, left bumper. And then I have to maintain it with right bumper and move it with right thumbstick. But I also then have to press LB to start concentrating the beam only after not holding LB down, even though you start using LB, RB to use it. This is, by the way, one of the worst examples of this. This is one of the most egregious examples of unintuitive controls. But this is one of the reasons I bring it up, because this is one of the harder examples. And yeah, I was able to get it, after just a couple of tries. But it was very weird. It was very, very weird. And I can tell you, I've used this ability, this blinding flash ability, like literally 0 times since then. So I've used the concentration area, like where you just hold LBRB, because you get this like really cool, like, searching glowing effect where you can like see hidden stuff on the ground. So that part, the holding LBRB is not a big deal, because like, that's just like a concentration move. It's like detective look, or how it was in like Arkham and stuff like that. So it's kind of like that feel. But like the actual shooting the blind flash, I've used 0 times since then. To be fair, I'm only 10 hours in. So that is a prime example of some of the weird jank controls in the game. Another one is that to talk to someone, it is the same button as jump. So when you're trying to talk to someone, sometimes you're just like awkwardly hopping around. Kind of silly, but not like, a gigantic deal or anything like that. But that is one of the biggest detractions. Control scheme needs to be updated. Control scheme needs to be like, they need to add some real detail to that, because like, oh my god, it is kind of ridiculous that and also you can change the controls on keyboard and mouse, but I don't think it has controller remapping. Very silly, kind of an oversight. But I think that this is something that, this is, like, as you can tell from how I describe it, this is something that can be fixed. It's not like this is a end-all, be-all. This is going to, ruin your experience as a player. You will never be able to get past this. Nothing like that. This is just something that is a distinct flaw that, other games of this type just really don't have as a flaw. But, a lot of those games also don't have some of the strengths that this game does have as well. There's some things that distract from almost every game. Very few games are completely recommendable as a 10 out of 10 perfect universal game. Most games are not like that. Most games are not Expedition 33s or Kingdom Come Deliverance 2s, just to use recent examples, or Witcher 3s. And even Witcher 3 has distinct flaws to me. I think the combat in Witcher 3 is one of the detractions in the game. Even though many other things in the game are absolutely fantastic and make up for it. This is not one of those kinds of like perfect 10 games. This is a game, however, and I want to make this extremely clear before we go on, as you see me exploring the world. The exploration and immersion in the game, the detail, the fine detail that you see with like the doors and the lights and talking to like random NPCs and walking around, literally almost every single building you find you can walk into. You might need a key for some of them or whatever, but this game lets you do. It is so much, just like I mentioned with Prototype, this is so much a sandbox that you can go into like almost every single room, period, on the face of the entire planet. And there's really almost no holds barred, which is really, really cool. Yeah, this is one of the games that very much is worth its money. Going back to my original point. This is a $70 game, no microtransactions. There is no pay to win. This is made by Pearl Abyss, so this was an issue. A lot of people don't know who Pearl Abyss is. They make an MMO called Black Desert Online, BDO. And BDO is a very interesting MMO. It's a very distinct one. It's a lot of fun combat and stuff. But there are some distinct flaws in BDO, and one of them is pay to win. So one of the big worries from a lot of people that were excited for Crimson Desert, including me, was, will this game have pay to win? It does not. Zero pay to win, zero microtransactions. Every single cosmetic you can earn in the game, every single item you can earn in the game, every single weapon upgrade, blah blah blah. This is not like Capcom, where even though Capcom, you have to earn things in the game for Resident Evil or whatever, you can also buy like a DLC with extra bullets in it or whatever, which was a huge issue with Resident Evil 3 Remake and 4 Remake and stuff, which is so stupid. Dragon's Dogma 2. Ooh, Dragon's Dogma 2 is actually a pretty good comparison, in my opinion, for this game. This game does a lot of things better than Dragon's Dogma 2. It also doesn't do everything better. Some things are worse. So if you're expecting, RPG elements where you're leveling up your, I guess your health with experience points and things like that, it's not that kind of RPG. This is much more akin. Also, you can pet the cat. Sorry, I this playing in the background. The petting mechanics are adorable. You can literally pick up a cat, walk around with it, and hug it and gain trust with the animal. And you can do this with every single cat. And I found so far in just the first town, I think at like 5 distinct cats. You can also pet the dogs. You can pick up a donkey. You can pick up a baby chicken. It's a lot of animals you can pick up for some reason. I really don't know why. I'm not complaining, but you can't pick up a dog. Maybe you can pick up a puppy. I have seen a puppy. I don't remember if you can pick it up or not. There's like a lot of weird things. There's also like weird immersion for certain things that you're like, why did they put this in the game? Where I right here, I'm observing sweeping as a skill. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, why am I learning this? And it gives you like this like way to tidy up floors and stuff, which is like, cute little life sim immersion thing. But it's also like, did this game need that? I don't know. And then you look at this and you're like, maybe they should have put the time where they developed the broom mechanic into remapping your controller. I don't know. Maybe that's a choice that they made. It's certainly a choice. Like I said, it's like a weird little jank experience sometimes, but not in a bad way. Because again, being able to sweep the floor, while not an RPG thing, while not a useful thing, one might argue, is still a pretty cool immersion aspect that a lot of other games just don't even give a fuck about. Pearl Abyss just did in this game. They're like, hey, base building is a thing in this game, so it might be for that life simming if you want to make a house, which is something that you couldn't do at the beginning of Skyrim. You could buy houses, but you couldn't make them. They had to add that in DLC later on. If you want to make a house and you want to, be a farmer or whatever, you can. I think that's kind of what they were going for. I have not done any building yet. I don't know how intricate the building mechanics are. I do know it is in the game, though. So, like I said, 10 hours in, we're still learning all the experiences in the game and everything like that. Now, the other thing, and I want to talk about this right here because I do show a little bit of this, is every single NPC that is a buyer or a seller, a shopkeeper, you can buy these little small bags to increase your inventory size by 1. You can also increase the inventory size with doing quests for villagers and things like that as well. However, that's kind of where it ends for your inventory space. And inventory is extremely limited. And so far, I've not really found a proper storage system in the game. Inventory is such a problem with the game. This is a level of jank. This is a level of issue with the game. You're like, bro, why can't I build a box and just shove all the really cool items? Because you can go around and like catch toads. You can pick up like everything in the game. I'm walking around over here and you'll see me pick up like butterflies and, snails and everything like that. And there's like dozens and dozens and dozens of items to pick up, little insects to collect, and a lot of them are used as alchemical ingredients. A lot of them are used in food. There's a cooking system in the game, which is pretty intricate. There's a lot of like these types of really cool things, but you have, you know, at the beginning of the game, all of like 40 inventory slots, and that's it. And those fill up really, really, really fast because one grasshopper does not stack with another grasshopper, but arrows do. So, and thank God arrows do, but like the grasshoppers don't stack. So each grasshopper you pick up is a single inventory spot, and you're like, I'm running out of inventory space. And so, you know, there was a solid amount of time in the game where I am looking at my inventory, and you can see the inventory look in the background. It's just a bunch of grids, which is not a problem. But you know, the limited amount is the problem, and you're just like, why is this such an issue in the year of our Lord 2026? Why is this such an issue for me? But yeah, that is, I think the other, so controls and the inventory are the two, I would say, and the reason I'm bringing this up are the two biggest detractions for me. Controls being, you know, just weird and jank and slightly unintuitive, and I can't really figure out how to remap them. There's no real option to, and a lot of the what's it called? The things, the controls kind of run together in weird ways. That's a big issue. And then the lack of inventory and weird way that it gives you to expand them, and limited way it gives you to expand them, is also a distinct issue. Those are the two worst issues in the game for me. Besides that, almost every single other thing is a positive, if not a full positive, at least a mostly positive experience. The story in the game is interesting. There are a lot more sci-fi elements, because, you know, you look at this game and you're like, wow, okay, there's mining, you know, my character kind of looks like a Highlander almost. He looks like a ranger from Lord of the Rings, perhaps, with a bow and a sword and, you know, things like that. And the world is distinctly very medieval. But with that, and you find this out in the beginning of the game, it's not really a spoiler. Let me see if I can go back to it. There is here we go. Distinct, like, sci-fi elements to the game as well. There's a lot of, like, moving objects where, you know, there's, like, electricity running through with, like, cords. You can see, like, electric cords and stuff going on and stuff. And you're like, this is almost a little steampunkish. Again, this is not a bad thing. I think that's really cool. I love sci-fi. I love having sci-fi elements in fantasy games. So I have no problem with this. But it didn't feel like that was going to be how the game is from pretty much every single marketing material out there. You know, that might turn people off. So, you know, I will always give it to you straight. I'll always give you the full breadth of information that I possibly can. And, you know, like I said, not a bad thing, just something to be aware of. If you're expecting, you know, Witcher 3, no sci-fi elements, pretty much almost at all, it's just, you know, low fantasy vibe. This is not that. This is high fantasy, but also, like, some weird sci-fi stuff. Maybe some time travel. We're not entirely sure yet. Definitely some steampunk, like, electricity thing going on right over here. Definitely, you know, dimension traveling. There's definitely dimensions going on. There's, like, some weird stuff like that. There's almost like a steampunky vibe. There's that in the game, for sure. But I think that actually adds to it because I like world building. I like distinct worlds. I like it when they add unique elements to the fantasy. So this is not a negative for me by any means whatsoever, but this is something that is a distinct thing to keep in mind. Now, the other thing that I really like in the game is just exactly how much you can break the game. There is a lot of game-breaking stuff that reminds me of Skyrim in the best of ways. During a giant chunk of my playthrough, let me see if I can find exactly where I did it. I was doing, like, some quests for some villagers and things like that, and then I made a mistake. I decided to, you know, see how the crime system worked. You can commit crimes by equipping a mask. And when you wear your mask, you can do things like stealing. It doesn't really let you steal without it. Which is, I think, like a way to, like, you know, make sure you don't do it accidentally. That it's a conscious choice in order to commit certain crimes. And for me, I didn't realize exactly how, like, you can hide from the cops in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. You can do that in GTA. You can, like, Cyberpunk. You can do that. There's like a timer and stuff. And there's certain games have different ways of treating crime. And I accidentally committed a most heinous act of murder, which is I think you're about to see here. And I did this in the first town, the first major town of the game. And when I did this, there it is. I'm equipping my mask. I wanted to see if I could steal from someone and ended up murdering them. And I almost feel like I was like really like this close to ruining my entire playthrough. So it's something that, is very immersive for a very cool reason. But like also is a little like, what's the word I'm looking for? Almost a little like jank to the point of unforgiving, and can absolutely ruin your playthrough if you're not ready for it. Now, I don't mind ruining my playthrough. I used to play games like Divinity all the way back when, where if you kill an NPC, you lock yourself out of the rest of the game. Fallout 1 and 2, Fallout 3, if you kill certain NPCs, your game is bricked. Like, it's just done. Like, you have to restart the entire game. I'm used to this. Most gamers in 2026 are not used to this. I had someone in my chat that literally said, oh my god, I restarted my entire playthrough because of how bad this was. And they did something worse than I did. So, they completely locked themselves out of the playthrough, or felt like they did. And they just said, you know what, it's not worth the effort. I'm just going to restart my playthrough. Now, me, I just stuck through it, and it didn't really, affect it too much. But it did send me on a crash course of learning the crime system. And the limitations of it, and, what you can and can't do. And one thing that you can't do, by the way, you cannot really, at least as far as I can tell, or easily, wait out the timer. There is no waiting out the timer like, you wait 3 distinct in-game days and people will forget that you murdered someone in cold blood. This is not one of those kinds of games. This is one of those kinds of games where I kill someone, and I think it's right up here. When I did, yeah, here it is. I greet a stranger, but I accidentally tackled him. So I accidentally pressed the tackle. I grab him. Then you can see, oh my god, I just lost like all of that, like, karma that I had in this town. And I'm like, okay, let's see if I kill the witness, the person that I, grabbed by accident. Maybe that'll like stop the crime from being reported. No, it does not stop the crime from being reported. They know that you killed this person, and now you're just losing more and more rep. And the guards see you, and it's on site. So I went from that to taking, trying to rebuild my karma by killing bandits and freeing slaves. And I found like an entire slave encampment where that is what I was doing. And that did not fix the problem. That did help the problem, but did not fix the problem. I was still wanted for my crimes. Eventually, I got caught and got stuck in jail for a little bit. So that's kind of what solved it. It wasn't like a truly like huge issue or anything. I'm trying to find where no, this is me killing the bad guys. Yeah, here it is. So I got caught and I was in jail. Where is it? I just want to see where the jail was. I think it's like right around here somewhere. Yeah. So I got caught by, so when you take over a bandit encampment and like save it, it's a really cool immersion thing where the good guys move in and it can become a quest hub. It can become a place where you buy and sell items. It can become a quest where, an area where quest givers can give you something. There's like almost like territories on the map. There's like a bunch of factions on the map and stuff as well. But the problem was that these were the people I thought, maybe I had absolved my crime, my criminal past. And they were like, oh my god, you're the guy who murdered that one guy. We're going to stick you in jail. And so that's kind of what happened to me here. They still knew I was a criminal and put me in jail. Fast forward, so yeah, this is me getting caught. This is obviously a little bit of a spoiler, but, you know, it's not like a really big deal. I actually died here, and they caught my dead body and put me in jail. Very, very interesting. So I respawned in prison. It was a distinct little option that I don't think a lot of people have found, where if you're wanted for a crime and you die in the span of escaping from your crime, you respawn in jail. But that, you know, they took all my money, which sucked. You know, I walked out and no one tried to harangue me. No guards tried to kill me or anything like that. People in chat were laughing at exactly what happened. I was laughing at what happened. Yeah, just something to keep in mind. This game is very breakable. This game is very, very much like a Fallout style. You can screw up your playthrough. This is like a, you know, in terms of immersion, Kingdom Come Deliverance style game where there are distinct real consequences for your actions. You can steal a whole bunch of stuff. You can do a lot of crimes. And in fact, I'm going to be doing a lot more of those tonight because the crime system looks really cool. There's an entire smuggling mechanic. You can pick up, you can steal horses and take it to like a horse thief wrangler or whatever and sell it to them for big money. I have not tried that yet, but I did meet the guy that you can do that with, and I was like, oh, okay. So this is one of those games that gives you a lot of choices and a lot more choices than the detractors are saying. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, this is a, you know, in some ways, I'm not a big fan of this phrase because a lot of people misquote this phrase. There's a phrase called, you know, Jack of all trades, master of none. And if you watch the IGN review, the Eurogamer review, you know, 89 YouTubers reviews or whatever, a lot of them will use this phrase. Jack of all trades, master of none. A lot of people don't remember or know, perhaps, that that's not the entirety of the phrase. The entire phrase is Jack of all trades, master of none, but better to know many things than just to only be a master of some. It is better to be good at many things, is essentially what it's saying, which is the exact opposite of what many people think the phrase means. So this is very much that real full phrase. This game does a lot of things supremely well. This game does a lot of things, even more things, quite well, but not like a 10 out of 10, more like an 8 out of 10 level. And this game does a couple of things relatively poorly as well. So, you know, a couple of things are like 2 out of 10s. But overall, the experience is extremely, extremely positive. So this very much kind of is a Jack of all trades, master of none, but like the rest of the phrase says, it's better to be good at many things than just a master of some. Would you rather play a game? This is a question you should ask yourself if you want to know whether you want to play Crimson Desert or not. Would you rather play a game that is good at 3 things, and those 3 things are 10 out of 10, and everything else is not touched in the game at all? It is only good at those 3 things. It only does those 3 things. It's a Metroidvania, for example, or whatever. And like, I love Metroidvanias. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. But like, you know, it's one of those distinct type of things. And that's it. Or would you rather play a game, you know, or be okay with a game that is really good at pretty much almost everything that you've ever seen in a video game? Combat, immersion, exploration is crazy good in this game. Puzzles are really cool in this game. You know, reading a note and it leading you to a dungeon and you have to solve the dungeon, and that dungeon has puzzles in it where if you don't know the moves, you just can't progress in the dungeon. Or if you do know the move and you're able to think your way through whatever, you can solve the dungeon. If you love that kind of stuff, which is huge in a game like Ocarina of Time, for example. Like, you know, maybe it's really prominent in later Zeldas as well, but I've not played Breath of the Wild. I've not played Tears of the Kingdom, so I don't really know. But I can tell you that, you know, at least Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker were my 2 favorite Zelda games. Those games were very, very not handholdy in a distinct way, but also very, like, if you didn't know what to do, you either looked it up online, and if it was before online, like Ocarina came out before we had online stuff, generally, you were just stuck. Unforgiving. There is no way past that puzzle. You're fucked. This game is very much like that. If you do not know how to do the puzzle, and if you can't look it up or you refuse to look it up, and you get frustrated, that kind of thing, this game will frustrate you like fucking crazy. But if you're okay with that and you're looking for that, you're looking for that level of trusting the player, trusting the gamer to figure something out, or if you're desperate, look it up, then you will love this game. I love games like that. So this game is very much something that I enjoy, that it trusts the gamer. It trusts me to not be an idiot. It trusts me to, at least, if I am an idiot, which, you know, sometimes we have those idiot moments, and there's certain things I couldn't figure out, like how to stow my weapon, for example. By the way, if you're on an Xbox gamepad, the way to stow your weapon is pressing left on the D-pad, which is, you know, it just doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you how to do that. Kind of unintuitive, but if you ever needed to know, that's how you stow your weapon. But how you stow your bow is a different way. Stupid, again, lack of intuitiveness and you know, figuring out how to, you know, do certain little things in the game, but things that detract from the game. But you know, beyond that, the level of trusting the player to figure things out is on the level of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 for me, where the game let you make mistakes in KCD2. You can kill your character by doing too many mistakes of crimes and not solving those crimes and not, like, you know, doing the good to balance out the bad or whatever. If you did enough crimes, your character could get put in jail and his head chopped off the next day in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And in 1 as well. They could absolutely do this in 1. I don't know if your character can die like that in this game or not. I have no idea about the level of, you know, debauchery and horrificness you can do in this game. But this game does let you fuck up. It does let you feel the consequences of your actions. And honestly, in 2026, that's pretty rare. And I think that's very much worth considering and worth enjoying about the game. Like I said at the beginning of this extremely long first impressions review, I know it's been about half an hour, but I am thorough. This game is very much a game that will give to you what you put into it. If you give it time, and if you give it the trust to take you on a grand adventure, it will give you a grand adventure. I am 10 hours in, and I looked at the map, I looked at the scale of the world. You can literally see towers and parapets, like, you know, here there's a little, like, a nice little area here. That you can see, like, towers and parapets and mountains in the distance all the way over here. Like, here's a great example right here. You can go there, and it's really far. And if you decide to walk it, which is, you know, not a smart idea, use a horse, but if you decide to walk it, it will take you hours, probably. I don't know. I've not gone there, but I have gone pretty far in the game, just you know, aimlessly wandering. This game allows you to do that. This game allows you to see the scale of a real fantasy world and let you run amok. It is a huge, gigantic world, and it is a giant sandbox of a world to do sandbox things in. So if that's the kind of game you want, you're going to love this game. If you don't like sandboxes, you want a distinct storyline that is extremely much like a tight Expedition 33 level story, or, you know, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 gave you that extremely tight story, but also gave you that immersion and, you know, open world stuff as well. The story is a little, you know, a little loosey-goosey. I wouldn't say it's a bad story. I like the world building. The world building is a huge W in this game. There's so many characters to meet. There's so many backstories. There's so many side quests. There's a whole, like, rack of factions, and, you know, there's a lot of those mechanics that add to the world building, and technically that is story, but it is not the main story. So the main story, the main through line of thread is there, but it's not nearly as strong as an Expedition 33, obviously. It's not nearly as strong as a Kingdom of Deliverance 2. It's not nearly as strong as other very choice-heavy open-world RPG games. But I would say that so far, it's not nearly like... People are saying it has no story. I would say the story is probably on par with like a Skyrim. There is a story there, just like Skyrim. There are factions there that are way more interesting than Skyrim's factions. And, Skyrim only had 2 factions, and they weren't really that fleshed out. The world building in Skyrim was really, really good, and this game shares really, really good world building. There's a lot of books, there's a lot of posters, there's a lot of, this, that, whatever. There's a lot of those things. But this game does have a huge level of sandboxy nature that Skyrim frankly didn't have. And Skyrim is a sandbox, but there's a lot of things that you couldn't do in Skyrim, especially at the beginning when Skyrim first came out. Things were added with DLC. This game is on release. It came out literally yesterday. So keep that in mind. I don't know if there's DLC planned or anything. I do know that there are fixes planned. So, people are complaining about the controls. I am. They're complaining about storage. I am. There's a lot of people that are complaining about, some graphical errors and things like that. And I didn't really actually run into much graphics. Graphic issues. I'm on a 4070 laptop card, and the game, I was using DLSS, so keep that in mind. But I was in major towns, 90 FPS. I was in outside environments with all kinds of lighting mechanics and fires and things like that going on, and I was at 100 FPS. So, obviously with DLSS, but it was a good iteration of DLSS. It didn't feel like I was missing frames. It didn't feel like, a Monster Hunter Wild situation where, hitboxes got wonky because the frames weren't really well done or whatever. This game is extremely, extremely well made in that way, where, it is its own engine. It's not using, an engine not made for it. This game's engine was made to do everything in this game, with the massive draw distances, the extremely fine water details, the lighting mechanics, which, are integral to the game because light will show you hidden things and so on. This game is really good at all of that. Extremely, extremely graphical powerhouse, for sure. But, they're still planning improvements, which is really, really cool. So I don't really know exactly how Pearl Abyss will treat this game as time goes on with DLCs and additions and fixes. I don't know if they're going to be fast or slow, but I will tell you that at least they are talking really much a high amount about the things that they'll do in the game to improve it. So that's pretty much everything that I could possibly say about First Impressions. This is a no bullshit First Impressions review. This is not a distinct 10 out of 10. This is not even, gun to my head, what number would I give this game? I would say 7.5 to 8 out of 10 for this game 10 hours in. But with the caveat that, of course, that number could go up or down depending on how this game continues, way past 10 hours. I've only experienced a fraction of the map. A literal pittance of a fraction of the map. And, the world aspects of the game, exploring around the wilderness, did not feel like it was an empty place. There was shit going on everywhere. This is not one of those games where it is completely empty outside the towns. Not even close. This is, actually Dragon's Dogma had a lack of immersion for me in that way. There was a lot of, weird emptiness in the game for Dragon's Dogma 2. Not 1, 2. But this game does not have that issue. There's shit everywhere in this game, man. There's all kinds of banditry. There's all kinds of, little mini quests you can find. There's all kinds of little hidden details you can find, little dungeons, places that'll kill you, places that'll one-shot you. There's all kinds of really, really cool things in this game like that. So that is my entire review. Gun to my head, 7.5 to 8. But knowing that I would give that same score to Prototype, I would give Skyrim an 8. There's a lot of major glaring issues with Skyrim, especially with this RPG mechanics, in my opinion, especially with this lack of immersion, with certain, I guess, like conversations and other mechanics that you had much better of in previous games. That was a big attraction for me in Skyrim, but Skyrim did a lot of things extremely well. This is one of those games where you have to meet it halfway. You have to meet Skyrim halfway in order to really love it. You have to meet Oblivion halfway in order to really love it. This is a game that is a distinct diamond in the rough. And it is a rough area in some ways. But it is really, really fantastic in many ways. So, that's my entire review. And I think it's a very fair one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And also, if you want, because I did make a lot of comparisons. I've compared this game to Skyrim. I didn't make the comparison to Red Dead 2 because a lot of people in my chat did, but I've never played Red Dead 2, so I can't make those comparisons. So if you, if you come at me with that one, I'll be like, I've never played it. Sorry. But I have made other comparisons, which are 3, other games that I played a really high amount of. If you have any questions, I like this aspect of blah, blah, blah game. Does this game do that well? I will answer every single question, every single possible comment you guys have, and I'll tell you exactly where the good issues and the bad issues are with this game, happily. Because I think this game is being treated very unfairly by both sides. People that are glazing it and saying it's Game of the Year are treating this game extremely unfairly. It is not Game of the Year. It is not a 10 out of 10 game. That's not a detraction. It's just not a 10 out of 10. It's a really, really good, distinctly flawed game. And then there's, the other side, which are saying, oh my god, it's absolute fucking dog shit. Oh my god, the blinding flash puzzle was really annoying to learn, so I quit the game. There's a lot of people like that right now, which is very odd to me, because, this is an open world, immersive adventure game. There's going to be jank. There should be jank. You have to remember, if there's no jank in a game like this, that means the game developers do not try hard enough. Even in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, there's jank. There are quit moments in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and that's my Game of the Year last year. That's not a bad thing. Not every game should be made for everyone. Most games should not be for everyone. That's my real opinion on gaming. I think games that try to be everything for everyone will be a game made for no one. I think there's a lot of games trying to do that right now, and that's not a good thing. I think people are realizing that slowly but surely now. But I think, Pearl Abyss's Crimson Desert is a prime example of this game is not made for everyone. This game is made for people who like open world adventures. This game is made for people who can figure out puzzles. This game is made for people that can deal with some jank. And if you are one of those people, you're going to love this game. I'm one of those people. I love this game. But I do see its flaws. I do see its limitations, but I also see its vision. That's my entire, positives and negatives. My first impressions for Crimson Desert. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you guys think of this review, this first impressions review? Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's unfair? Do you think it's good, bad, ugly? I want to hear all of your thoughts. And let me know your impressions. If you're playing it, let me know your thoughts of Crimson Desert in the comments below. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.